entire beef?
I thought it was good, man.
Right.
Like, look, I've engaged and always involved myself in those situations, big, and I think it always made bigger excitement in our culture. Like that type of thing would make a person buy the record twice.
Right.
It would make like
so you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that. Even me and Kanye, like we have issues, but we were standing there like we was in a fight pose.
Yeah.
For the picture, you know what I mean? Like,
and that was the week, the first sales week.
Yeah.
And both of y'all sold.
Yes. And you're going to look, at the end of the day, Vic, you're going, I could have went on tour with him if I wanted to combat that win.
Right.
Because I had so many records that were hit records at that point that I would have smashed. He only had that album.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this is with Drake and Kendrick?
No, I think it's a point where you win repeatedly to the audience, and even the artist community is going, if you win again, how am I have my chance to win? So they would rather see Kendrick in that slot.
Right.
And Drake, you get out of here.
Damn. That's
really the way it goes. But like, you look, think what he's saying, the system's done, they done it. They're guilty of what he said they did. Like where I'm at Interscope, they are G Unit and G Unit at the same time.
Right. Gotcha. Wow.
On the same system, big. The same person delivering the record telling you to play 50 Cent is delivering the record saying play game.
Wow.
And it's just business. They're looking at it like it's business. It's selling the record. But everything that they said that he did, that they did for Kendrick is something they did for him.
What did you say to Drake, if you don't mind my asking? Because you guys were somewhere, and it looked like y'all were having a conversation.
Yeah. I said, they said you lost to Pusha T. So what did you lose? And he said, nothing. I said, so I don't understand.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like whenever you say that you lost something, he said, what exactly did you lose? If you take a step back, there's nothing lost. There's nobody who's just a Drake fan that won't go out to see his show right now.
Man, we say that all the time. We say that all the time.
Yeah. So it's just to be active. You get out there, do your thing.
How do you feel about beef in general?
I like it.
Yeah, I know.
We can tell.
I grew up under circumstances where it is not optional. It's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And then you going, look, battling has always been a part of hip hop culture. If you're not competing, look, that is we hit a spot where business is so present that he looked at it and said, well, that's defamation of character because it's not true. It's a false statement. All right, and I'm like, you know how many false statements were in battle records?
Yeah. What did you feel about the lawsuit when you heard the lawsuit being announced?
I thought it was to combat the
Super Bowl.
Yeah, because that would reignite it, big, or the song would make it exciting, make it go up again.
And months down the line too.
Yeah, but the suit itself, I don't think you think about it, but when the lawsuit comes out, it ignites the record. It goes up.
Right.
I didn't realize that his album was coming.
Right.
Kendrick's album was coming right when that lawsuit fell, and it was like,
yeah, there we go.
It spiked up anyway. So
is it different when we look at hip hop as
the world of hip hop has always been a hotbed of controversy, but recent events surrounding Jay-Z and Diddy Combs have pushed the drama to unprecedented heights. Allegations and leaked information have set the internet on fire, with the prison call between the two legendary figures at the center of the chaos. The stakes couldn't be higher, as their reputations, careers, and even personal freedom are on the line. In this intense narrative, loyalty, survival, and betrayal collide, making for a gripping story that keeps everyone on edge.
And competitive, if there's a lawsuit there, from a beef though, you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I think it's
because you beef with Fat Joe, Ja Rule, Buster. Have you ever got a lawsuit?
No.
Okay.
Nah, you always get other stuff like behind the scenes stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but they're not public lawsuits or things like that. Like they've said for me, mine was so street orientated that you're a rat.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
And weird. That's defamation right there. But then the judge that you would be in front of would look and say, so you're like those criminals that I put away. Because you feel offended by someone calling you a rat. The traditional person, they're not in that lifestyle. Rat means yes.
Right.
911, their defense to you hitting them over there, you hit them Come get this nigga. Yeah. Hello? Come get him. Yeah. Me, yeah. Don't act like you didn't do it.
Right.
Like that is no ratting for them. They're like, what? You better behave yourself.
Can you understand from a business part and the bigger scheme what this lawsuit is from Drake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's because it does feel like like when you're in negotiations, it'll feel like the value went down. Like not as hot as you was last week when everybody was excited. And saying it feels different. Like, you know, like they saying you lost. Like you get a phone call, even you're like, yo, you guys created the largest sales week in hip hop. And I'm like, yeah, but I lost.
Right.
Get off my phone.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I get this call from Steve Berman. They run Interscope now. But they like at that point.
And this is when you and Kanye were going?
Yeah.
You
got to get the call. You go, wait, what did you make? Get the fuck off my phone.
Because when you look at it with the sales with you and Kanye, like y'all went on this whole who's going to sell. And that first week, Kanye did sell more.
Yeah.
But looking at the numbers, y'all won.
Yeah. No,
but you were like,
look
nah.
At this big. Look, from a sales history, I have the sales history. Interscope didn't do everything Def Jam done for Kanye's number to come back like that. They assumed because they didn't do everything to protect Drake. Because they assume Kendrick and this will be just like anything else that happens. Do you understand? Like they did everything he's saying they did in that lawsuit, they did it.
So you feel like it's valid on that point? Like, yeah, they did that.
I understand why you would do that if you was talking to a lawyer, but like in hip hop,
right?
There's nothing to sue for. There's nothing that I didn't sue for that.
Is anything off boundaries when it comes to beef?
No.
Nothing's out of bounds?
Nah.
What about going to their home city and putting on a full concert? Like Kendrick's going to Toronto for 2 nights.
And it probably
Imagine being Jay-Z, one of the most influential figures in both music and business, a billionaire, a husband to Beyonce and a father of 3. Then, out of nowhere, your name is dragged into one of the most serious allegations imaginable. A lawsuit claims your involvement in a heinous crime alongside Diddy, who was also named in the case. This isn't just another tabloid headline. This is a potentially life-changing crisis. And if the leak caused any indication, Jay-Z's response to this intense situation is far from ordinary.
Let's move on to Jay-Z and Diddy. Now, we knew that Diddy was facing all sorts of criminal charges and tons of civil suits. And my God, like I can't even keep track of the number of things that have been alleged against Sean Combs or P. Diddy. But here he is in this picture with Jay-Z, who is also known as Beyonce's husband. And now Jay-Z's been dragged into one civil suit by one of the Diddy accusers. And this now 30-something-year-old woman, I think she's 37 now, who claims that she was 13 years old at the time this happened to her, has filed a lawsuit through this lawyer who's suing P. Diddy in many cases. Like this guy's going to build a summer home based on what he hopes to recover in his lawsuits.
Or 3 summer homes.
3. So he says that he's got this woman who, when she was 13 years old, she went to the VMA Awards in New York City, like by herself, looking to get in and meet celebrities. Not surprisingly, she says she couldn't get in. She says she decided to chat up the limo drivers waiting for the celebs outside, and that one of them said to her something to the effect of, "You look like Diddy's type." And that then she was brought back to Diddy's house after the VMA Awards at Rock Center in Manhattan in the year 2000. And that there she was raped. She was given something that made her feel drugged, a drink. And she was raped not only by Diddy, but also by Jay-Z. And that when Diddy then tried to come for her again that evening, she grabbed her clothes and ran out. And that her father picked her up at a gas station nearby the home. The father, and I presume she, lived 5 hours away in Rochester, New York. Now, unfortunately for this woman and her lawyer, this guy Busby, some inconsistencies have surfaced in the account. Most notably, that the father comes out and says, That never happened. I never went and picked her up at any post Diddy party. I think I'd remember that. I live 5 hours away. And that would seem to be a near insurmountable problem for Mr. Busby in this lawsuit, Mark, but you tell me.
Well, that's when you say inconsistencies, that's about as charitable as you can get. And by the way, I'm going to ask Alex Spiro next time he calls him a Busby, the 1-800 lawyer. I call him the 1-800 Diddy lawyer. I mean, he's out there with the billboards, he's filing things anonymously. And then it turns out when Alex was doing his press conference yesterday, that not only was the description of the house impossible, 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, but virtually everything else about this story was impossible, not to mention, as you said, the father. But this is not the first time that one of these things as to Diddy has fallen apart. I mean, Gloria Allred brought a case that ended up falling apart. The lawyer...
The leaked prison call reportedly exposes Jay-Z's cold and calculated strategy to distance himself from Diddy. Gone are the days of friendship and collaboration. Jay-Z now seems to be putting self-preservation above everything else. According to sources close to the matter, he appears willing to throw Diddy under the bus if it means safeguard himself and his family.
I actually followed on one of the TV shows a lawyer who brought 3 cases against Diddy, and he said that 60 people had come to his office talking about Diddy, but the 57 of them were so ridiculous that he didn't take them. Well, that tells you 95% of the people making the claims don't even pass the smell test for a lawyer, yet he's going to take 3 or vice versa. I mean, this is really, at the end of the day, if you look at the Diddy case, and you know, there's almost a service that has been done by them expanding it to Jay-Z. Everybody says there's all these celebrities involved. Well, so far, everybody says any minute the tape's going to drop, the tapes are being shopped, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that was in September. And now we're in December. Not one tape has been released that I have seen. No, not one other person who is an alleged victim has been identified. It's still a one accuser case that's being brought criminally. I think that a lot of this is totally overblown, and there isn't any indication. Everybody keeps talking about the Diddy parties. Where are the tapes of the Diddy parties where this is supposedly going on? Nobody's ever seen it. It's become like the Loch Ness Monster.
And also, but Meg, let's talk about something historical that took place this week. And it's this case that you and I don't know how many stories we did on the original Kendall's court / Kelly's court. The young woman who she was young then, accused the Duke lacrosse players of raping
Crystal
her,
Mangum,
has now come out and said, yeah, I made the whole thing up, which is horrible as what she did was horrible. She's actually just committed like a little bit of a public service to show like people do make these things up. Everyone's like, oh, make this up out of whole cloth. Oh, it just creates such a story. It never happens. Yeah, it actually does happen. Did happen. Those 4 kids' lives were ruined. Their families ruined, financially wiped out. A DA was brought to his knees out there. It was just, you know, a despicable situation that happened. And now, I don't even know, almost 20 years later, she admits, yeah, I made the whole thing up. And this girl with the Jay-Z thing, I mean, her own father, he goes, yeah, I think I would remember if I drove 5 hours to pick up my daughter from a nightclub. But for Jay-Z, I agree with Mark that he did perform somewhat of a public service when his name came out, and he fought. He said, look, I feel bad for my kids. I feel bad they're going to have to hear about this, but I am not going to be extorted. I'm not giving a penny. I know I didn't do that. And I'll tell you, Mark and I have represented these kinds of people. It is often a lot easier for them to fill out a 3-page document, a non-disclosure agreement, write out a check for an amount of money that's not going to change their quality of life, just make it go away. He probably could have done that here, but he didn't, and good for him.
Yeah, no, Jay-Z is denying it in the strongest terms, and he's responding to this. I'll get to.
On the surface, this might seem shocking. Jay-Z and Diddy have long been regarded as pillars of the hip-hop community, sharing stages, business ventures, and personal moments of connection. However, when survival instincts take over, friendship can quickly fade into the background. The leaked conversation reportedly reveals Jay-Z's unwavering determination to clear his name no matter the cost.
Well, I didn't reach out to him. My mother, she actually wrote the letter. She reached out to Jay-Z and his team. And my godmother helped. They sent him a letter basically saying we can talk privately and have a private conversation and basically have a sit down.
And have they agreed to that then?
No.
Did you get any response?
Yeah, we got a response, but it wasn't about no sit down. It was just basically asking questions, stating like who your mom was in the car with and things of that sort. Do she remember what type of car it was and like stuff like that? Who was the person that was driving?
So when you got a response like that, did you feel disheartened, or did you think they're probably just doing the job? This kind of thing, probably they get a lot of weird people contacting them.
Yeah, I felt like, I don't know, honestly, I had mixed feelings, but I felt like they were trying to block the truth. I wouldn't say block the truth, but they wasn't trying to never solve the problem. It was never trying to get. My whole thing was getting a problem solved. I didn't ever want to see nobody, throwing shots at another person for something that we could have got taken care of privately. I'm not that type of person, and people could think what they want, but I never wanted this to, harm anyone. We really could have got this done, and he knows this, the truth. The team knows this, that we sent letters. We've been fighting for years and years, and someone should know that we're not fighting no fraud. Like, they've been using things in these courtrooms to drag it out and creating narratives that don't exist. And this could have been over with. That's all I'm saying is that when you treat people like that and you expect someone to just sit there and take it, that's just, you get what you get.
Yeah, it's got to be really frustrating. All right, so let's just go slowly over the years what happened with the legal situation. So you're 16, you reach out, they send this, response asking all these questions, trying to basically shut you guys down. What happened next after that in terms of communication?
Well, it was very lack of communication. We was basically talking, I guess, to his team. It was never directly to him, so it was always someone from his team or representing him. And after that, it was really just all court action. Like, let's just go to court, go in different states to go to court. Things is just dragging it out. They trying to dismiss cases and we making us file again about the same thing. It was just all craziness that could have really been taken care of. Our legal system is, and I'm not talking about our whole legal system. Don't get me wrong. It is some great people in our legal system, but the ones that's not doing their job, like, you guys really need to check and get these people out of there because it's so much.
It's crucial to understand the context. Both Jay-Z and Diddy are facing allegations that could not only destroy their legacies, but potentially land them behind bars. The lawsuit, filed by a woman identified as Jane Doe, accuses them of unspeakable acts that allegedly took place at a party years ago. The allegations are chilling, and the legal battle is intense. Meanwhile, Diddy is dealing with other legal troubles, further escalating the pressure. Jay-Z, however, appears to be using every advantage at his disposal to protect himself, prioritizing his own defense in the face of these devastating accusations.
Going on in the legal system, like, these guys are overlooking things. They're letting lawyers lie, then come and these lawyers are saying, "Oh, we did lie. We didn't know he had properties." But yeah, come on, man, it's just too much going on. You guys are letting them get away with murder, basically, because if these guys don't got to come in here and abide by the law, why should we?
It's corrupt as hell, and if you've got money, you can certainly play the system. That's what I've seen. But all right, so going back over it more slowly, then, you reached out, and then it got shut down, and then it went into the court system. How did it enter the court system? Who initiated that, and how old were you at that point?
I think I was still 16, going on to 17. Who initiated that was my godmother and my mom. It was started in Philadelphia, but when my godmom got legal custody over me, I guess when my mom started getting sick, she opened the case back up in New Jersey.
Yeah, that was really heartbreaking when I was listening to your interview, about your mum passing, and our condolences there. Definitely.
That's my love right there. I love my mom to death.
Yeah, you've been through a lot. So it enters the court system, and that first thing that was filed then, what happened after that?
Fighting in court. I'm not a lawyer. I wish I could really tell you guys all the details, but just being, someone who's just listening to the fight that's going on. It was a lot of BS, a lot of craziness, and them bringing up different scenarios and things like that to try to throw the judge off of what was really the paternity and all the fraud and all that came. This case should have been over with. They should have never let it get this far. All the fraud that's in this case, and I just want the world to know, it should have never been sealed. This should be open for the public. It's just a lot of things that's going on that we all know is wrong.
So through the court system then, were you guys asking for like a paternity test?
Yes, we started off asking for a paternity test, and it just went left from there. It just went left from there.
And how many years were you fighting in court for?
10 plus now, as I would say, it's 13, 14 years now.
Is it still ongoing?
One of the most telling aspects of the call is Jay-Z's legal maneuvering. Reports suggest that his attorneys are zeroing in on inconsistencies in the accuser's claims. They filed motions accusing Jane Doe of possibly destroying evidence and have pointed out contradictions in her testimony. This legal strategy is designed to undermine the credibility of the accusations, but it also highlights the gravity of the situation and the high stakes involved.
Those allegations that Jay-Z, Sean Carter sexually assaulted Jane Doe, who was 13 at the time, at an after-party 2000 Video Music Awards. Doe alleges she felt woozy after consuming a drink, then wandered into a bedroom where Carter raped her first, followed by Combs. Carter called the allegations so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one, and said whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. The lawsuit claims Carter responded to mediation requests with a frivolous lawsuit and accusations of harassment against Doe's legal team. It states Jay-Z responded to said letter by orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiffs' lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff. In his statement to CNN, Carter labeled the mediation effort a blackmail effort and remarked that those lawyers seem to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. Is this their response, Rob?
Yes.
And is this from him? Because he actually responded.
I think because it says my lawyer received a blackmail attempt.
Yeah,
so
this is what it's saying. The internet is saying that this is Jay-Z's response.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Rob?
Sure.
My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had been calculated as the nature of these allegations and public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect and made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in very public fashion. So, no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I've read that already. These alleged victims would deserve real justice if it were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern. I have no idea how you come to such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby. I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims. By the way, very well written. You think he wrote this here?
Yeah.
And explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes to true victims who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the projects of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honors. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, physics, will believe this idiotic claim you have levied against me that if not for the serious surrounding harm to kids would be laughable. Tom.
So I break this down, and first, it's very subtle. It's very subtle, Vinny, but you can detect Jay-Z indicating, again, you really got to read between the lines.
Meanwhile, Diddy's position seems to be growing more precarious. Unlike Jay-Z, who has publicly distanced himself, Diddy has reportedly expressed hope that Jay-Z's legal success will benefit them both. However, this optimism may be misplaced. The leaked call suggests that Jay-Z has no intention of aligning himself with Diddy's fate. In fact, it appears that Diddy bears the full weight of the fallout.